Before we begin, I want you to breathe. You're here now, and that means something. It means you're curious about yourself, about your past, maybe even about what you've locked away. So let me say this, you're safe here. This isn't a place of judgment or shame. This is a place of gentle reflection, a place where the emotions you buried, the ones you forgot, the ones you never wanted to name, finally get the chance to speak. We don't scream here, we listen. If you've ever stayed up late, staring at the ceiling, if you've ever whispered, I wish I had, if you've ever replayed the past like an unfinished song, then you've already met today's storyteller. You just didn't realize they've been with you all along. Before we begin, truly begin, I invite you to stay. Subscribe if you're ready to go deeper. Not just into stories, but into your story, the one you've been living in silence. Let's begin. I am Regret. And I've been following you since you were old enough to choose. I don't arrive with a crash. I don't shout. I slip in like fog beneath a door, quiet, inevitable, and patient. You won't notice me at first, not when you're young. Not when the world still feels infinite and every choice seems reversible. But I am there, in the pause before a decision, in the glance over your shoulder, in the words you wanted to say but swallowed instead. I live in doorways never opened, in phone calls never made, in the laughter you walked away from, thinking there'd be time for it later. I am the weight you feel when a song from years ago plays unexpectedly. I am the color that drains from your face when you see an old photo. Not because you missed the moment, but because you didn't realize how much it mattered, until now. I am not your enemy, but I am not your friend. I am a mirror that only appears when it's too dark to see clearly. I am truth, but only in hindsight. People think I hurt because of what they lost, but that's not true. I hurt because I show you what could have been. I come when the what if becomes louder than the what is. There was a moment, you remember it. You don't talk about it, but it replays like a loop in the background of your mind. Maybe it was a person, someone you could have reached out to, someone you pushed away. Maybe it was a dream, small and fragile, that you traded for comfort. Maybe it was a conversation you avoided, a truth you couldn't face, or a love you didn't return. That moment, that tiny, forgettable choice, was the doorway I used. I didn't knock. You left it open, and I walked in. I don't need to be loud. You do that for me. You revisit the past like it owes you something. You replay the memories trying to change the ending. But you can't, and so I grow stronger. I sit beside you in silence. When you smile at others, I wait for the quiet. When you're surrounded by people, I whisper when you're alone. I am not here to destroy you, only to remind you. Remind you of who you might have been, if only. I am stitched into the fabric of time. I cling to your yesterday, your yesteryears, your yester mistakes. Some carry me lightly. They visit me now and then, offering a sigh and a nod. But you let me build a home. You give me a bed beside your hope. You feed me with your hesitation, and I grow fat on your indecision. You try to bury me with distraction, with work, with noise, with performance. But I've lived through centuries of men louder than you. I outlast your busyness. I outlast your parties. I outlast your pretending. Because in the end, when the world is quiet and the screen is off and there is no one left to impress, it's just you and me. You might think you're strong enough to forget me. You think time makes me fade. But time is where I live. I don't need your memory to stay alive. I just need your silence. Because the longer you go without speaking me aloud, the more space I take up in your chest. I sit in the pauses, in the way your eyes glaze over when someone says her name, in the way your fingers twitch when you hear a song from before the fallout, in the way you stare at your ceiling at 3 a.m., asking questions that have no answers. You gave me those moments, and I don't waste them. Sometimes I dress up in nostalgia. That's when I'm at my most dangerous, because when I wear nostalgia's clothes, you think I'm beautiful. You'll call it bittersweet. You'll call it melancholy. But I am neither. I'm not soft. I'm sharp. And I only look sweet because you've forgotten how much I cut. When you stare at the past and sigh, I miss how things used to be. That's not memory talking. That's me, pulling you backward, whispering lies laced with longing. I am not the past. I am the absence of the future that could have been. That's what makes me unbearable. That's what makes you carry me like a wound that won't heal. You're not mourning the thing itself. You're mourning the version of yourself that never got to live. The bolder you, the braver you, the one who stayed, or left, or spoke, or dared. That version of you lives in the hallway just outside your reach, and I live in the space between you and that door. I am the echo of the apology never said, the friendship never mended, the time you said I'm fine when you were screaming inside. I know what you're thinking, that I make life unbearable, that I ruin joy. But you've misunderstood me. I don't ruin joy. I only appear after you've wasted it. I don't hate you. I never did. In fact, I admire you. I've watched you break and rebuild more times than you know. I've watched you walk through choices that hollowed you out, and still you move. That's the part I don't understand. That's what separates you from me. You are allowed to move forward. I can only look back. You think I'm your enemy, but I'm your consequence. I am the cost of awareness. The receipt of all that was possible. You don't want to feel me because it hurts, but I exist because you can feel. And that is not a weakness. It's proof that you loved something deeply. Enough to miss it, enough to wish it could have gone differently. I live in your ache because I was born from your care. There was a moment, you remember it now, where you stood on the edge of a decision. Your body hesitated, your soul leaned forward, and then you didn't move. That single pause, that single blink, was all I needed. I attached myself to the silence that followed. I wrapped myself around the things left unsaid, and I've been there ever since. But here's the truth I don't say often, because I don't want to be forgotten. You can live with me, and not be owned by me. I will always be a shadow, but shadows only exist when there's light. That means you haven't lost everything. You still have now. You still have choice. You can make decisions that don't birth me. You can speak the words you'll be proud of later. You can act with the kind of courage that starves me. You can live in a way that makes me smaller. I will always be here. But I don't have to be loud. I am regret. I am the weight you carry. But I am also the teacher you never asked for. And if you let me, I can guide you back to yourself. Not the version you missed, but the one still waiting to be lived. Let me show you how I change. I am not the same in your 20s as I will be in your 40s. In your youth, I am loud, sharp, immediate. I flash like lightning. You feel me in the moment you say the wrong thing, walk away too soon, or stay too long. But as you age, I become quieter. Not because I'm gone, but because I settle into you. I become part of the way you carry yourself. I don't need to scream when I can sit in your bones. I live in your posture, in the way your shoulders slope when you hear that name, in the silence between breaths when you see someone else living the life you could have had. By then, I don't need to hurt you. You do it for me, with every if only, every too late, every time you say it's just how things turned out. But we both know it didn't just turn out that way. You chose, and now you carry me. But what most people never understand is this. I'm not only tied to mistakes. I'm tied to neglect. The things you didn't do, the parts of you you left unused. People think regret is about wrong actions, but I thrive more in your inaction. Not calling, not risking, not speaking, not showing up. You can justify wrong actions, but inaction, there's nothing to defend, only silence. And silence is where I echo the loudest. I've seen you try to erase me. You try to label me as weakness. Don't dwell on the past, they say. Everything happens for a reason. You say those things too, but you don't believe them. Not really. You believe in the ache, in the dream you didn't chase, in the apology you rehearsed but never delivered. In the days that passed where your soul whispered, "This isn't me," and you stayed anyway. I know the versions of you that never came to be. I've watched them fade, slowly, as you chose comfort over courage, certainty over truth, noise over depth. I don't say that to shame you. I say it because I remember them, the artist, the lover, the friend who forgave, the one who still believed. I carry them like ghosts, and some nights I let them visit you in dreams. Not to haunt you, but so you don't forget. And here's something else no one tells you. Regret can mature. Like grief, I change over time. I start as pain, but if you face me, truly face me, I become wisdom. Because I am proof that you've learned, that you can see. You regret because you've grown, because the version of you that exists now would have made a different choice. That means you're evolving, and that's beautiful. There are those who deny me completely. They live loud and fast. They drown me in consumption, distraction, and pride. But they are not free of me. They are simply loud enough to not hear my voice. Yet late at night, when their defenses tire, I find them. Because no one escapes me. Not forever. But you're different. You're here, listening, reflecting, feeling. That means something. That means there is still time. And if there is time, there is choice. I will never disappear completely, and maybe I shouldn't. Because I am the reason you will tell your child, say what you need to say. I am the reason you will turn the car around and finally knock on their door. I am the reason you will sit with yourself and say, I can't do this anymore. I am the reason you might finally choose truth, even if it's hard, even if it breaks something open. Because you know what it feels like to look back and wish you had. You've lived with me, and now you can choose differently. I am regret. And while I will always be the shadow behind you, you don't have to walk in darkness. Use me. Let me be your compass, not your prison. Let me remind you of what matters, not what's lost. Let me be a weight that strengthens your back, not bends it. Because I am not here to define you. Only to remind you that you're still writing the story I won't be a part of. Not this time. There is something I need to confess. For all the space I take up in your chest, for all the years I've sat behind your thoughts, for all the dreams I've turned into memories that sting. There is something you've never understood about me. I only exist because you once hoped. You only feel regret when something mattered. The reason I hurt so deeply is because you cared deeply. You loved or wanted to or almost did. And so I'm not just pain, I'm also a relic of your tenderness, your sensitivity, your capacity to long for more. Would you rather feel nothing? Would you rather walk through life untouched, unmoved, uninspired, just so you could avoid me? You wouldn't. You were never meant to be numb. You think I am weakness. But I am one of the last signs that your soul is still awake. Because there is something worse than regret, and that is apathy. To feel nothing at all. To look back at your life with a shrug. To meet each version of yourself with indifference. No. You feel me because you lived. And in some cases, because you didn't, but wanted to. You dreamed of something more. You reached for something truer. And when you didn't grasp it, when it slipped through your fingers or was left behind, I formed in the shape of that silence. And now here we are. But you are not your silence. You are not what you missed. You are not your broken promises, your unread letters, your unanswered calls. You are still here, and that means you can turn the story. Not back. No, the past isn't yours to rewrite. It never was. But forward, that path still answers to your name. There will be new moments, new chances to speak, new ways to love, new people to hold, new truths to live in. And I will be there. Yes. Watching. Quiet. I may still whisper. I may still ache. But I don't have to own you anymore. You can carry me without clinging to me. You can feel me without feeding me. You can thank me for what I taught you, and then walk past me into a life I won't follow you into. Not because I'm gone, but because you finally moved farther than I can reach. And if one day you look back again, if my shadow returns in a new shape, in a new moment, don't run. Sit with me. Ask what I'm trying to show you. Ask what you missed. Ask where you're still hiding. Ask who you still love. And then go toward that thing while there's still time. Because there is always time until there isn't. Let me be your reminder, not of failure, but of feeling, of trying, of desiring something real. And if you can let me speak without letting me take over, then I will have done my job. Because I'm not here to drag you backward. I'm here to remind you of what matters before you forget again. So go ahead, say the words, take the risk, show up when it's uncomfortable, love like it might hurt because it will. But that hurt is proof that you were alive while it happened. That's the best any of us can hope for. To be fully here before the silence comes. I am regret. And I will follow you for as long as you run. But if you turn and face me, if you welcome me like a scar that shaped you, then I will become quiet. And I will become peace. Then I will become your greatest teacher. And now, take a deep breath. You've just faced something most people spend their whole lives avoiding. If your heart feels heavy, that's okay. It means it's still working. And if you feel something rising up, something you need to say, or fix, or chase, don't wait. Regret will always wait for you, but you don't have to wait for it. If this story moves something inside you, subscribe to the channel. Not for me, but for the you that's still becoming. The one who's brave enough to feel everything, even the shadows. More voices will come, more emotions will speak. and each one will guide you back to yourself. You're not alone here. This is only the beginning.